and a former student of his invited me to be part of this wonderful ceremony, especially since coming home to North Rockland, I always feel a deep connection and fond memories, especially with some of the names in particular who we remember today. And that memory will continue with me personally, 5 o'clock tonight, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, 9:30 tomorrow morning, and 11:30 tomorrow morning, while I'm incorporating 4 people into the homily I will deliver to the good parishioners of St. Anastasia Parish in Harriman, where I currently serve as pastor. I'll be remembering, especially, Rob and Jerry O'Leary, the first funeral that I attended. Secondly, in particular, Tommy Scholes, Dad Ed, a friend of mine for many years, will be remembered as I convey to the parishioners my sadness, the loss of someone so dear. And Rob Alonso, my fellow graduate, my classmate from 1979. We went way back to our Cub Scout pack when we were children. We played Little League together. He was the bass player in the band that I was part of right here at North Rockland High School. So these things do strike to the heart. And like Coach Casarella said, I had the unenviable task back on 9/11/2001, serving at that time as a teacher and guidance counselor at Our Lady of Lourdes High School in Poughkeepsie, to get on the school's PA system and somehow try to make sense of a tragedy that affected students who were worried because their moms, their dads, their brothers, and their sisters worked in New York City, and some in particular at the World Trade Center. And so today, gathering with people throughout the nation and the world, we remember in this small venue, but this extremely important venue. And so I invite you, my friends, to bow your heads in a spirit of reverence and remembrance, and ask the Lord's blessing upon these beautiful fields and the people after whom they are named. O God of love, compassion, and healing, look on us, people of many different faiths and traditions and cultures who gather here today. We ask in your goodness to give eternal light and peace to all who died on September 11th, 2001. The heroic first responders, our firefighters, police officers, emergency service workers, and Port Authority personnel, along with all the innocent men and women who were victims of this tragedy, simply because their work or service happened to be at a scene of incredible violence and pain. We ask you in your compassion to bring healing to those who, because of their presence at those targeted sites, suffer from injuries and illness. Heal, too, the pain of still grieving families and all who lost loved ones in this tragedy. Give them strength to continue their lives with courage and hope. We, who live in New York, are mindful as well of those who suffered death, injury, and loss on the same day at the Pentagon and in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and are gathering like us today to remember. Our hearts are one with theirs as our prayer embraces their pain and suffering. God of peace, bring your peace to our violent world, peace in the hearts of all men and women, and peace among the nations of the earth. Turn to your way of love those whose hearts and minds are consumed with hatred and prejudice. God of understanding, overwhelmed by the magnitude of this tragedy, we seek your light and guidance as we confront such terrible events. Grant that those of us whose lives were spared may live so that the lives of those lost on that fateful day may not have been lost in vain. Comfort and console us, strengthen us in hope, and give us the wisdom and courage to work tirelessly for a world where true peace and love reign among the nations and in the hearts of all people. And may these fields, these 9/11 Memorial Athletic Fields, which we dedicate today in loving memory of Janet Alonso, John Coughlin, Patricia McEnany, Robert McCarthy, Michael McHugh, Luke Nee, Dennis O'Connor, Gerald O'Leary, Thomas Scholes, Arthur Simon, Kenneth Simon, Kathy Smith, and Michael Hooley. Keep their blessed and beloved spirits alive in us, and remind us also of the selfless generosity of all those individuals and organizations who donated and worked so hard to create these beautiful fields. They are, and will always be, living embodiments of America at its best. Amen.
Amen.